Greetings! Today we discuss Peas and Love from Jiminy, classic Christmas films, cheese, and so much more on this episode of Bear Ghost Invents the Podcast!
Ahoy, boogers! Welcome back to the third episode of Bear Ghost Invents the Podcast. This is the podcast where we plunge into the who's-its and what's-its of the inner workings of Bear Ghost. We are happy to be back, and we are happy that you're listening to us. I got the whole gang here, Mr. Drummer Buttons.
Hello.
And bass player Do.
That's me.
This week, however, we had to decommission Tigbot, so he's not here this week.
Yeah, he tried to overthrow a bunch of world governments, and so we had to take him offline.
He accelerated very quickly.
Yeah, it was weird.
We've received all of your fan mail. He's the only reason any of you guys are listening. So how are you? How are you, listener? I'll wait. Anyways, guys, this week we're going to talk about Peas and Love, which is one of my favorite songs off of the album Jiminy. It was one I was scared of.
I was also afraid of Peas and Love being on the album. It felt like it was so much brighter than everything else that we've done, so it was very difficult to gauge how people would react to it.
Absolutely. I'm kind of shocked that people like it as much as they do. I'm happy they like it as much as they do. I feel like we spent a lot of time between our original material on the first two releases and covers kind of making ourselves out to be a band that could do anything we wanted without people judging it. But even with that, it was so scary to have Peas and the Mario cliche, which we'll get to later on the record. But the reaction to it has been phenomenal. And I'm so glad that we played it live on our headlining tours. We didn't get to do it on the Deer Hunter tour, but
it was always received very well. Everybody had a good time. We passed out kazoos, which was both a good and bad idea.
Oh, it was the best idea because it took 5 minutes to do every single time, and that was much needed breath control for me.
Yes, but then we had to sign 100 kazoos every night.
Yeah. Only 100, though.
I don't know if you remember this, but this song you wrote at least part of like 15 years ago.
15? What?
Yeah, you and Tigbot were really into this song by a band called Skybox, and you wrote a song inspired by that song that you like. I don't even think it was the exact chords that Peas and Love is now, but that ba 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 was the melody in that song.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. The verse of it. I never had any lyrics, and I whistled that part. It was like a... I had forgotten about that. My poor fiance is going to be devastated. I wrote a Valentine's Day song for my fiance like 7 years ago, and I went with that part, and I wrote a whole chorus and a bridge and everything and lyrics and melodies and stuff like that, but we could never find anything to do with it back then.
I mean, back then even we thought it was a little bit too
sugary.
Bright and for what we were doing at the time, which was
brutal death metal.
Also, like, I don't think we wrote a song with that type of rhythm.
The
triplet, 16-note triplets.
Yeah.
First of all, I do want to point out that when we were writing this song, I was playing 16th notes. And then literally the day of the recording, I'm like, why am I so off? What the is going on? Like, what am I missing here? And then I go in there and Ryan's like,
Buttons, they're triplets. And he's just like, oh. And then he just went in there and did them as triplets.
We try to explain it, not saying it's triplets. We try to explain it some other way. And he'd be like, all right, I got it. And he'd start playing and we'd be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I felt like such an idiot that day. And I think I wasted half the recording day that time.
We spent $10,000 that day to be in the studio, and Buttons spent $5,000 not understanding what a triplet was. I think that was our first kind of triplet beat. And it was a downfall for the band because now almost everything I write is in triplets.
To a degree, I kind of understand why you guys were so scared of that song. From a drummer standpoint, it's like, I love this. When do I ever get to play triplets?
Yeah, no, for me, it was well beyond the musicianship of it. It was very much the vibe of the song, and I didn't know how our fans and the kind of macabre tone that we had built.
Right. We had definitely established ourselves as the silly, spooky band. I mean, especially having Necro be like our biggest song by a wide margin. It was just kind of like, well, there's nothing spooky about this. No. And most of our songs, we usually have a really tragic or dark story that we cover with silly lyrics and kind of weave in and out of the darker tone. And this song is not like that at all. So there was a lot of kind of fear going into it. But as far as the song itself goes, we've spent a lot of time trying to make sure that we're writing music that we like. And I adore this song. It really stretched the boundaries of my writing abilities and all of the things that I like to listen to in music, like all these tiny little chromatic changes in every single chord. I'm really proud of the way this song came out.
It gave us a lot of leeway to experiment with a few things that we wouldn't normally get to put into songs. So we had things like the little siren whistle and the slide whistles and the kazoo solo. Like, I mean, theoretically, you could put those into any song you want, but it just really fit the general vibe of this song so well.
Totally. I remember finishing the chorus and trying to figure out where the song should go. And I was like, well, I got this melody in mind for a guitar solo, but your boy Ryan, not a good lead guitarist. So, guys, what if we just did it in kazoo? And then I remember Andrew being like, don't you have some like shreddy notes in it? And I was like, wouldn't that be great though? Like if we just did all this in kazoo. And it didn't turn out as shreddy as I had expected it. Like I feel like an accomplished singer could kazoo that part pretty well, but we edited it so hard to make sure that it was like these precise runs that we couldn't sing. And it's really funny listening to an audience of 300 people try and kazoo their way through that solo. So it was like cool to put the kazoos in there. And then we had the slide whistle ideas and what'd you call them? A siren whistle?
Siren whistle?
Yeah,
I don't know if that's what they're called.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like an apocalypse whistle, like a silly apocalypse. Then there was also kind of like the fear of lyrically taking a song that I'd already written as a Valentine's Day gift and kind of repurposing it for Bear Ghost. Initially, the lyrics was like, I wrote you this Valentine song. My heart is singing for you and I'm singing along. Yeah, it was all Valentine's Day lyrics. When talking to Andrew about whether or not we could bring it to Bear Ghost, it was kind of like, what is our angle lyrically if we're going to make this happen?
Yeah, I don't remember which one of us had the idea.
Oh, it was me for sure.
It's probably Ryan. He's the best. We ended up...
Cut that out.
Ryan has all the ideas.
You, Buttons, you sometimes just are like, guys, what if we do this? And we're just like, It's not.
I sprinkled those here.
It's not every day, but
here and there,
sometimes you just have some gold that you just throw at the wall, and
then we have to repair the walls.
Yeah, because gold is very dense.
Yeah, and cover it up,
and then reprimand you for throwing our valuables.
I remember us talking about that whole new relationship feeling that people get when you first start seeing somebody, and it's
Is it the honeymoon stage? Is that what they call it?
It's like even before the honeymoon stage. It's that stage of the relationship where you start to like everything you see is
infatuation
positive.
stage.
That's
what
one.
it is. That's the
where
word.
it's like you are talking about things that you like, and that other person's like, I like that too, and you're like, oh, what are the odds? Just completely superficial stuff that doesn't mean anything, but you get so excited that you have something in common because you feel like every little tiny connection is a miracle. So we wrote this song very tongue-in-cheek with that in mind, where everything we say that's a quality about the person we're singing to is just such a generic, normal thing.
It was fun writing something so generic. And the end of the song, that was the one that really tickled me the most, thinking about you're so special because when you sing karaoke, you sing over a track. And when you do the hokey pokey, you shake it all about. Well, that's what everybody does.
Yeah.
And even though that's at the very end of the song, that is the thesis of that song. But at the same time, people have also been listening to it and being like, this is so cute. It is cute, dude. When you first start a relationship or you like somebody or anything like that, it's adorable. When we write lyrics to a song, the meaning evolves even for us. So even if we started this as a tongue-in-cheek joke, it becomes cute. Singing it to fans every night, it really starts to feel, you start feeling this adorable connection.
You started doing this thing when we play it live. You'd say, I wrote this song about my fiance, but we changed the lyrics to be about all of you, which I think originally was a joke because it's just about generic qualities that people have. But now it's actually just like we love all of you guys.
Yeah. I just need to take a quick tangent here and explain to the fans, we're not used to you all being at the shows. That has been wild from the very first show that we played on to being on the Deer Hunter tour. Like it is completely flabbergasted us. On the first show of our first headlining tour, my aunt and uncle showed up and like my uncle takes me aside and he's just like, well, I was just talking to this guy at the bar and he said that he was actually here to see you guys. And I was like, everybody is here to see us. Like,
It's our show.
But he's so used to, my whole family's just like, how's it going, rock star? Like, they don't mean to be condescending, but like, they don't realize that we actually have fans. I don't blame them because I didn't know we had fans until we started going out on the road.
That first West Coast tour we did, we were just like, oh man, if we show up and play to like 25 people in this place we've never been to, that's going to be cool.
So low.
Yeah, and
like,
we had triple digits every show we played. It was radical.
It was unbelievable. Yeah, that was a long walk to be like, I love you guys more than I love my fiance. Okay, so I know I've talked about writing lyrics on the podcast already. I would say Andrew writes 75%, if not more than that, of the lyrics. But I think I did most of the lyrics to this one in the rewrite because I kept giving Andrew drafts and being like, okay, so something like this. And then I would write another draft before he could finish one and be like, okay, but something like this. And then he kind of ended up being like, well, dude, this works pretty well. And the only thing I didn't have was the bridge. I gave Andrew like this idea. I was like, I want to talk about how it's amazing that we both ended up on this planet and then spend the entire rest of the bridge explaining that we know it's not a star. I haven't heard anybody talk about it, so I don't know if anybody knows that it's funny.
No,
but
I was afraid it was going to come off a little like mansplaining. I remember one of the lyrics we did not have was the second line of the song. And we were sitting in the studio and you were about to go into the vocal booth and you were like, I don't know what this line is. And I was like, I don't know. And we were just trying to find something that rhymed and fit the melody structure. And you were just like skip and beat that slapped a patch on my heart. And I was like, hole? And you were like, a heart hole? And I was like, yeah, do it. And you're like, okay. And that's what's in the song.
I've forgotten how many times there were things like that in the studio.
You were like appalled that I had even suggested heart hole. And you just were like, all right, whatever.
I think we deserve a medal of bravery for deciding that right off the bat in one of our most cutesy songs that we should say my heart hole. And people are just like, isn't it romantic?
It's so
We
cute.
got married to this song. Who was that?
Sarah, yeah.
Shout out to Sarah.
Yeah.
Sarah is one of our
Congratulations.
Discord moderators.
Was it one of their wedding songs?
They put it on their wedding playlist.
On their wedding playlist.
Yes.
And she said that to me. And I said, you're crazy. What are you doing with your life?
Now I'm going to apologize to her on here. I have apologized to her on Discord. I apologized to her in person at a show, and I apologize to her now on the podcast for spelling her name wrong in our things in our liner notes.
Oh, no.
She was very specific when she like wrote her name. She's like, it's Sarah, but not with an H. And I was like, okay, cool, with an H.
I have a question for you, Sarah. Did you happen to come to Arizona to see a deer hunter show? I have this big old deer hunter picture. I got it when we were touring with the deer hunter because the photographer, Justin, was like, I didn't like the Crescent Ballroom. And I was like, I was there. And he's like, I have the pictures in my phone, bro. And so he pulled it up and I was like, there's me and my fiance. So he spent $60 to send me a huge print of the photo. And then I got the huge print and I was like, is that Sarah in the front row? But I don't know why she would be in Arizona.
I mean, it's
Maybe they didn't go to Utah. Who goes to Utah? We do twice.
Utah. Is that good?
That was great.
Utah.
I would like to say, Andrew, this song really harbors some of your best bass playing. I love the bass
Yeah.
lines in this song so much. It's all that's going on in the verses pretty much. Once it gets to like the Donkey Kong percussion parts, the marimbas and stuff that I have in the second verse, you're doop 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 doop. I would have never written anything like that. It's just one of the things that I appreciate so much about your bass playing. And then when we get to the kazoo solo, you're doing this walking bass line that I just would have never come up with. And I just love it so much.
I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Give me a kiss. You want to get in on this, Buttons? I'm glad I cleaned my butt before.
When people compliment the bass lines that I write, it's complimentary to the way that you write because a lot of times all I do is I'm like, Ryan, what chord is this? And he's like, it's this chord. And I will outline that chord. And if I do that and I'm just like, oh, this note sounds weird, I'll move it here. Or Ryan will be like, move this note here. And I'll be like, oh yeah, cool. And then I'm like, what's the next chord? He'll tell me what the next chord is. And I'll write something around that. And then I'll just find like a lead note between the two that makes it flow. And so without those chord changes, I wouldn't come up with any of those bass lines. And this song especially has a lot of dumb chord changes.
I'm all out.
They're not dumb, dude. Can I remind you
He
that
he definitely means dumb in the way that it's just like
Oh, the
it's
way it's
just
played,
too
yeah.
many.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But may you
No,
remind
I was
us
gonna
of what?
say I wanted to remind you that we have met people out on the road, like in our shows, that literally started playing bass because of you.
That's wild.
And
That is
drummers
crazy
because of
oh
you.
yeah, some drummers too. Yeah.
Not a single person has told me they started playing guitar because of me.
Well, they're watching you the whole time.
Well,
you know, so-
I do not deserve that. If you're somebody out there who started playing guitar because of me, find better guitarists, buddy, because I'm not a great guitar player. I think I'm a decent songwriter. And,
Great songwriter.
and I know how to play guitar as well as I need to accomplish those songs in the studio.
Cause live, you ain't seeing me doing anything good.
That's the same voice I used in our Spotify Wrapped video.
I got more like Wacko from freaking Animaniacs, dude.
From frickin' Animaniacs.
And you guys watch the remakes of that?
No.
Anyway.
The only reson I ever watched Animaniacs is because it was on WB around the same time Pokemon was.
Yeah, it was always the show before Pokemon.
Was it? Okay,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
It
though.
So
also-
I would stop at Animaniacs. I never watched Pokemon.
It
Anybody-
also was on before Batman the Animated Series, before
Yes.
Pokemon was out. So
Man, what a great theme song.
Tim Burton.
Tim Burton wrote that theme song. It certainly wasn't Danny Elfman. It was Tim Burton.
They're the same person.
I don't think I realized that you genuinely didn't know that you...
I knew what I meant.
I don't know. I like that I got to play ukulele on it. I like that I got to do little Queen leads and the solo. It was a call and response thing that I did with the kazoo solo. Here's a kazoo line, and then here's these like 3-part Queen guitar harmonies.
Brian May leads.
Yeah.
He completely got a unique guitar tone just for those call response parts.
And I played it with a quarter.
You did?
I did. I played, instead of using a guitar pick, I used a quarter because Brian May apparently did that. I don't think it did anything. I don't think it did anything for the track. And then I don't want to be on this train here for very long, but the part right after it, the kind of circusy part, the all of the chords and everything else that's happening is genuinely one of my favorite things that I've ever written. I'm super, super proud of it because like I was saying earlier in the song, that's where all of the leading tones and the chords just make all this kookiness. And it was kind of cool to go from something like that was so theatrical and production heavy right into just a more stripped down guitar part. Because after that, the A Billion Stars part is just like all guitar, drums, and bass and vocals, you know? There's kazoos in there too.
Were you trying to write the chords to the lead, or did you write the lead to the chords?
I wrote the chords to the lead. I actually usually write better that way. If I have like a good melody, it helps me come up with like a better chord progression. But writing a good melody is hard, guys.
It is. I know that because being someone who writes a solid chunk of the lyrics, I don't come up with many melodies by myself. I need Ryan to do it because it's so hard.
Andrew's better than he gives himself credit for. I use his melodies when he writes them like 9 times out of 10 with just some little edits here and there. The Invents the Podcast theme was mostly you, wasn't it?
I think
No, it wasn't.
No, I came up with a rhythm. And I was like, this is the rhythm I think these words need to be at. And you wrote melodies around it.
Not to go back to the Invents the Podcast theme, but Andrew came over to my house to record his vocals for that because he wasn't going to be able to come into the studio. And I had him in front of a microphone and we were like, wait, what are we doing? What is the melody here? So I pulled up the song really quick and I'm just like playing the song and looking at where I had the chords and then have my piano in front of me. And I'm like, okay, we're going to do this melody because it doesn't clash with anything. So,
Completely on the fly.
yep.
My last little note on Peas and Love is the ending, because we go into that big open halftime section where we're doing the chorus again, but it's all in halftime. And when we wrote that, I don't remember which one we did first, but Mario Cliche had a big halftime ending too. And we had to like sit down after practice one day and just, we can't do this in 2 songs on this album. And we had
In
to
2 songs that are in the same key
Yeah.
that both have similar vibes.
Yeah, and so we had to sit down and decide which one we wanted to keep the halftime ending in, and Peas won.
And we made the right choice
Absolutely,
for sure.
yeah.
It always reminded me of the final scene on Splash Mountain. Like when you're coming around the corner and there's the riverboat that's going up and down and everybody's singing Zippity Doo Dah. Like that's always what that part felt like to me. So when I was directing gang vocals and stuff like that, it was very much like, we're going to do 3 takes of all of you guys singing the melody. And then we're going to do 3 takes of all of us just yelling the melody. And then now do Muppet voices and now do this. And, and just kind of putting that all together made it sound so huge and grand. And it's amazing how much directing people to sound like Muppets in our songs, like, is a secret sauce of ours, guys.
it
like
helps.
anybody out there trying to sound like Bear Ghost, anytime you do your gangs, do 3 sets of regular gangs and then do 3 sets of Muppet gangs, and you got yourself a big,
Throw in like one set of trying to be like old men.
yep, and then a big falsetto set. We do a lot of gangs. It's a magical sauce for us. Also, here's a little gift for you guys in this instrumental version. There's a little vocal line at the end. We can't take it out.
But is it like just embedded in a track?
It's embedded in a track that we can't find. So You get an
Probably bled over from another mic.
you get an instrumental version that has one lyric in it, and not to mention that you get an instrumental version that has a full minute of snapping at the end with no vocals. And we had a talk about whether or not we should leave the snaps in, and we're like, why not? Who cares?
Yeah.
It's funny. People can skip through it the same way they already skipped through that ending part anyways. But
Well, and if people want to sing along to the karaoke version, they want the ending. Got to do the ending.
you gotta do the ending.
So live, when we play this song, we do our outro, and because we didn't want to drop into just snaps, we do like a big rock ending, just like strumming the chord for a while, and then we slow everything down, and we go into a segment from Hungarian Rhapsody number 2 by Franz Liszt, and it was something
You've
that
been playing that on bass at practice for 40 years.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's weird, because I went to Disneyland and I was on Roger Rabbit's Cartoon Spin, and that bass line was just playing, and I started playing it at practice and at every sound check.
Every
we
sound
did.
check.
And then Ryan one day was like, I actually want to do a cover of this. Yeah, okay, Ryan. And then 7 years later, we actually did it.
I just was trying to think of fun things for the tour, and I was like, I've always wanted to do this. Maybe one person will know it. I guess not enough Looney Tunes watchers out there,
Yeah.
or people that had seen Rogers Rabbit.
Roger's Rabbit.
Not enough people had seen Roger Rabbit in the fight between Donald Duck and Daffy Duck, but it was really fun, and maybe it'll rear its head in this podcast as like a bonus song. It's a lot of fun to play, and it was really fun trying to figure out how to make it Bear Ghosty. There was just the one little part where I was like, let's do it in minor.
And I got so mad at you.
Andrew did get mad at me because it's very difficult to play
It is.
on bass. I would say that is with a lot of our songs. We play in drop D, not because we're brutal. Oh, here's a fun story. I thought I invented drop D. This is a real thing.
You also
where-
thought you invented palm muting.
I also thought I invented palm muting. I was like, look, if you do this, it sounds just like these records where people palm mute. And then Andrew's like, yeah, that's because that's what they're doing. So I've just played in drop D forever. And now we do full bar chords in all of our music. And I just mute the low D string because you can't use that in your bar chords. But
And I've played in drop D my whole life because I've always played with Ryan.
this is true. But it's amazing how often we play an A flat. And so Andrew always has to play that A flat on the low D string. And he always has to do these.
You love the transition of the E flat, which is the first fret, to the A flat, which is the 6th fret.
I do.
And I
do like that.
it stretches my wrist ligaments in a
and
way
then-
they're not meant to go.
And then we play so many diminished chords, which are always 2 notes in between each time.
I
That's
hate
just a big old stretch for you.
Yeah.
This is very inside baseball for most of you.
Inside
and then,
baseball.
And then for anybody who is inside this baseball, you're like, these guys have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But the rest of you guys think we're fucking geniuses.
I recently picked up a very inexpensive short scale bass, and it's been a lifesaver. I have little short stubby fingers, so bass playing should not have been my choice.
You guys don't know this, but Andrew's fingers are only 2 inches long.
And I play the bass somehow.
Anyways, yeah, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next week with a cover song. I think this one's going to be real special.
And the older of you all are going to hate it.
Probably, but don't hold it against us. We hope there's still something for you to find joy in.
Would you say it's a classic at this point?
What's the last thing that released that you think was an instant classic? I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say that Elf was like the
as a
first
movie?
classic
Absolutely.
Christmas movie that has been released in my lifetime.
I saw it in theaters and I thought it was really stupid, but over the years I'm just like, this is awesome.
Buttons are fired. Take it back. Say Elf is a classic. It's not
take it
stupid
back.
and dumb.
Elf is a classic. It's a great movie. Have you guys watched Red One yet? Well,
I'm
gonna save
finding
you
out
guys.
in
I'm
real
gonna
time that Buttons has the worst taste on the planet.
I'm gonna save you guys the time. It's like they wrote the movie
Well, let's
for me.
let's pause right here and just watch it.
Okay. Yeah.
Here we go. We'll be back, guys.
All right.
Holy shit. I did not expect to
told
see
you, right?
so much J.K. Simmons dong in that movie.
Told you.
Buttons tried to tell us there was so much dong in that movie.
You guys want to take another break and watch it again?
Yep.
Sure.
All right, cool. We'll be right back.
Are you sick and tired of your pets and kids just crapping all over the place? You work hard all day, breaking your back, selling deformed IP character ice cream bars to the coal miners, just to come home and have to look at some crap that your pets and kids took all over the place. Well, for just 29 times the cost of regular paper towels, that crap will disappear in seconds. Just place your crap away sheet over the crap and no one can see it anymore. Crap Away comes in different shapes and colors to match your various carpet, tile, or hardwood floors. Just set it and forget it.
That's already a slogan for something else.
Oh man, so good.
Gosh, I love it.
I told you,
That's
man.
my new favorite movie. Hold on, I got to send out a text chain to my mom. All right, cool. No, I haven't seen Red One, and I tried to watch some new Christmas movies this year and didn't really.
I'm very, very selective, but I have traditions for movies I watch for Christmas.
Die
And-
Hard.
No,
You're not a
Lord of
Die
the
Hard
Rings,
guy?
Die Hard. Yeah, I mean, Jingle All the Way, Grinch,
Jingle All the
that
Way,
stuff.
Andrew and I's most quoted film of all time.
You guys quote it a lot. It's crazy.
Not quoted Christmas movie, our most quoted film. And we're not even quoting funny lines from Jingle All the Way because I would argue there are none.
Dad, you smell like barf. See? Funny.
Get out of my way, box.
Okay. We're going to try something
Uh-oh.
you guys are not prepared for. In mid-December, I chose to go on our Discord and tag everybody in the Discord so that they all got a notification from me.
Is that what you did?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
And I said,
You've invited the devil.
I said, we are going to start answering questions from our Ask the Band channel on Discord on our podcast. So please inundate us with questions.
Hold on one second. You let us wrap up this podcast and then go on like an impromptu Jingle All the Way chat before bringing up that we had more that we could be talking
I forgot
about.
about it. So we can
It's
either.
going to be a disaster.
Oh,
let's,
yeah.
Let's
I
hear it.
actually grouped these into.
Least disastrous to most disastrous.
There's a whole section of joke questions and then a whole section about actual band questions.
All right, pick 3 random questions.
Oh, no, we're going to go through this whole joke section, but they're going to be rapid fire. So you have to answer as fast as you can.
Okay.
Okay. Cheese or no cheese?
No cheese. I'm lactose intolerant, apparently.
Okay. Favorite cheese?
Colby Jack.
Least favorite cheese?
American.
Middle favorite cheese?
Cheddar.
Do you like cheese?
No.
What's your most neutral opinion on cheese?
I like it. This is bad podcasting.
What's your overall opinion on cheese?
I think we as Americans consume way too much of it. And I spent time in Japan and didn't even notice they don't put cheese on anything. And I was the healthiest I've ever been in my life. And also all the food was better.
Would you make cheese?
No.
What's your opinion on cheesemakers?
Stop.
What's the best cheese to use for a sandwich?
Cheddar.
What's your opinion on cheese cubes?
Make them way bigger.
What's the best cheese to eat while listening to Vulture?
Holy cheese. Swiss cheese.
If you could turn into any kind of cheese, what kind would you pick?
Richard cheese.
What kind of cheese does the necromancer like?
Moldy cheese.
Best foreign cheese?
Swiss cheese.
What's your favorite utensil that you can use to cut cheese?
Oh my gosh. The definitive answer is butt. Come on.
Can you make a song about cheese?
No.
If you could choose what type of cheese the moon would be made out of, what cheese would you choose?
I hate this. I hate this so much.
It's from the Discord.
Buttons, you take some.
Cheese whiz.
Sure. Cheddar Whizzy.
What's your opinion on the moon?
It's there.
It was faked.
Would you eat cheese and ice cream?
Yeah, dude, I've had pear and goat cheese.
Yeah,
ice cream.
I've had several cheese-based ice creams. Thank you, Salt and Straw. That's the end of the cheese.
Thank you. Hey guys, don't do that again. That was grating.
Pun intended.
Oh my gosh. We can't have most of that in this podcast.
I have a lot more, more legit questions.
Okay, pick 2 random questions.
If you guys had the chance to make one of your songs into an animated or live action music video, which one would you choose?
When I'm dead.
I would pick Heavy News or Barbecue.
Barbecue would make a good one.
Yeah, Barbecue I'm always going to go to bat for. I know it's now a 4-year-old song, but I wrote a whole treatment for a video, and I still see it every time I listen to that song.
So many of our songs, they all have imagery to me. And Heavy News, not to go back to Heavy News, but I think it works fine. But I don't think a lot of people understand that in the chorus, we're shifting perspective. Because the verse is in one perspective and the choruses are in a completely the opposite perspective.
Yeah.
And then they go back to the verses, which is the previous perspective. You know, it's very much like that. And I think if it could be animated, that would come across a lot better.
Another deep question, but one that I know that we'll get a lot.
Deep.
So let's just knock it out now. Is there any particular album, song, artist, or life moment that inspired you to get into music?
Well, I mean, do they want a short answer or just anything like random?
No, what
I'm sorry,
was the moment in your life that you were just like, I want to be a musician? Like,
Oh,
what made you?
I have an answer for that. So when I was a kid, MTV had a music awards. It was the MTV Video Music Awards, and it was Nirvana when Kurt had the bowl cut, and it was also the
Oh
show.
my God, you're old.
God damn it! It was the show that the bass player threw his bass up and knocked himself out when he tried to catch it. Dave Grohl was playing drums, and I knew right then and there, I was like, that is awesome. I want to be a drummer.
I want to be the guy that doesn't get hit in the head with his instrument and pass out.
I have a little segue since you brought up Nirvana because there was a question in the Discord specifically for you on what is Buttons' favorite Nirvana song.
Radio Friendly Unit Shifter.
Oh, I love that song.
It's a great song.
Tourette's.
Both on. Wait, no. Tourette's is on. It's on in utero. Both of them are.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
Yeah, that's the best album.
Yeah, that album's great.
What about you, Andrew? Music.
Mine is gonna sound super sappy because it has so much to do with Ryan.
Oh,
I have to talk about our stupid nu metal addiction when we were in middle school. But
Own it. Jeez.
okay. When we were in middle school, nu metal was a thing. It's a thing again now, but like it was cool to be into nu metal when we were kids.
yes, prior to when I was in like 6th and 7th grade, for some reason, the only thing I listened to was like techno.
Yeah.
And
Andrew was really good with glow sticks.
I was
I
very good with
remember.
glow
No
sticks.
way.
Yeah, dude, we
I
went
was
to
that
our
guy.
8th grade school dance, and Andrew just digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga. You guys can't tell that I'm doing a glow stick dance, but I am.
And my friend got hit in the head while I was doing that, completely unrelated, and passed out.
And away.
I was super into techno music, and I guess people that I thought was my friend were just like, "Do you like Linkin Park?" And their first album had just come out, and I was like, "I don't know who that is." And they were like, "Well, you should, or else we're not friends anymore." So I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll buy this Linkin Park album." I started listening to that, and then I became friends with Ryan. You were just like, "This album sucks. Listen to these albums instead." And you gave me a burned copy of Follow the Leader and The Sickness.
It's so funny because Hybrid Theory is so much better than The Sickness by Disturbed. It's absolutely insane.
But it was in that weird flux period where like downloading music like song by song on like those file sharing programs
LimeWire.
was a thing, but they all started to get like banned and outlawed. So this was before YouTube. So I started finding live videos
God, you're old.
of those bands and downloading them to my computer. And for some reason, when I was home by myself, I would just grab a microphone and like sing along to those videos. And I was just like, I want to do this.
Yeah, we used to do that all the time. We have videos of Andrew and I in my bedroom where we would set up a camera and we would put on like a song from a band that we liked, and we would grab microphones and just literally rock out.
Oh my God.
In Ryan's bedroom.
In-
yeah.
I used to do that too with me and my
Did you
friends.
really? That's awesome.
One of my friends would play on a hockey stick as if like it's an instrument, and I would just be playing with drumsticks on on pillows.
I don't want to poop all over anybody's parade, but I need it to be said that there's a difference between current Ryan of the last 20 years and the Ryan who gave Andrew The Sickness by Disturbed. I think Disturbed is a bad band, and I do not like them. I did go through a phase where somehow I thought that Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory was an inferior record to The Sickness by Disturbed, but I have been reformed. I'm not really particularly like a Linkin Park fan either, but Hybrid Theory is kind of an undeniable record.
We were barely 13.
That's true.
So
I will stand by Follow the Leader by Korn though, any day.
album's still great.
Yeah. It has some really stinkies on it, but
does.
it has some real stinkies. But it also has like BBK and
Even to your credit, even back then when we were 13, you were just like, this album is the best and worst of this band.
I remember that. I handed you that. Oh, wait, you forgot that I also got you the soundtrack to the Scorpion King.
That's right. But you got me the actual soundtrack to the Scorpion King.
The other
that
two
one
were
was
burned.
not burned.
The other two were burned, and then I bought him the soundtrack to the Scorpion King because it had a System of a Down track on it that ripped. For me, music, I was always really interested in it. The first artists that I really ended up loving were like the Jackson 5, Weird Al Yankovic, and Coolio. Coolio because of the Dangerous Minds soundtrack, which is what led me to Weird Al Yankovic, because my mom was just like, this is a little too intense, so she bought me Bad Hair Day, which had Amish Paradise.
Counterpoint the Dangerous Minds soundtrack.
Which she also bought me. And then within a year, Hanson's Middle of Nowhere came out, and she bought me that. And literally that was it. I need to be a musician. I want to be Taylor Hanson. So I started learning how to play the keyboard. And then within another year and a half, I was like, Limp Bizkit is the way, and wanted to play guitar. And I never looked back from there. I've gone through a gigantic musical metamorphosis since those days, but
What are you talking about? We just went to a Limp Bizkit show like 2 months ago.
No, I was talking about the Hanson of it all. I'm sorry, everybody. Limp Bizkit is fun, okay? Just don't listen to Fred Durst if that's your issue, because I totally get that. But Wes Borland he's like one of my heroes. So
He's the bee's knees.
He's the Limp Bizknees. And we'll see you next week.
All right.
Have a nice fall.
Goodbye.
No, let's do an actual. Now we're ready to end the podcast. Thank you guys so much. This is genuinely being able to play music for you guys and talk out of our buttholes, the likes of which Andrew and Buttons kissed on me forever. We'll cut that out. But yeah, this has been a blast. We hope you guys are having fun. And if you're not, just listen to the songs then. You don't have to listen to this podcast. Just listen to the songs. All right, that's it. Thank you. This has been Bear Ghost Invents the Podcast.
We love you.
We love you. Bye.
Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening. Oh, you know what? We have one more question. The Discord wants to know, will we ever play Hot to Go?
No.
Okay.